Get hooked up okay this time, Larry?
Maybe not, Bill. Larry, can you hear us?
Doesn't look like it. Oh, he's phoning in again.
Emily? Okay, thank you.
Yes, yep, there you are. Okay, and we have Councillor or Committee Member Williamson on the line. We're just missing Committee Member Lovshin on screen. There we go. Okay, Chairman Jib, we are currently live on YouTube if you'd like to begin.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon, everyone. We are sitting today as committee members for the Committee of Adjustment. Just because we have had a previous meeting, we are aware that we are experiencing some technical difficulty. So on my screen right now, I can see Member Kane, and that's it. So we do have, I can now see Member Williamson and as well Member Lovshin. Member McCourt is away today with notification. We have some applicants with us today. It's by my clock, 2 o'clock, although the official recorder can adjust that time as needed. And I shall call this meeting to order for the Committee of Adjustment. Sandra, assuming that you're there, and I can't see you, sorry, I will turn to you for the explanation of the hearing today, hearing and public meeting today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, thank you. As you said, this is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment, and each application will be announced as it comes forward. And I, as the planning coordinator, will give the staff report, a synopsis thereof. The entire report is available on our website should anybody wish to review that. Following my report, the floor will then be open to the public. Please make yourself known. We will try and remember to call on you as necessary. The order of speaking is as follows. Those persons in support of the application, those persons in opposition to the application, those persons seeking clarification, and the applicant will have an opportunity to speak at the end should they desire. Please note that all persons wishing to speak to the application must address their comments and questions to the chair, and we advise that before speaking, you must clearly and slowly state your name and address so that the record is complete. Members of the committee may make comments or ask questions on the application as they deem necessary, and the committee may make a decision on the application this afternoon. The reasons for the decision and the impact of public input will be provided by the committee members. Please note that those persons requesting a copy of notice of decision must do so in writing to myself, the Secretary-Treasurer of the committee. Please either email that to me or put a written letter in our drop box to the left side of the front door of the main building. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. Next order of business is the confirmation of agenda. If you would, please.
Yes, so
Larry?
Look, Larry's to move.
Larry's moved. Bill
Thank you.
seconded, I think. All those in favor? Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Keep in mind, I can't get everybody on my screen at once. I'm seeing some head shakes. All no.
No,
It should be noted, there's no declarations. Sandra, please.
Thank you.
Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting being February 9th, 2021. Appears to be moved by member Kane. Seconded by member Lovshin. All those in favor? Thank you. Any business arising from the minutes?
I have none, thank you.
Seeing none, we shall move on to new business. We do have 3 minor variance applications today. No consent applications, but just 3 minor variances. Our first application is A01-21. It's an application by Jason and Janine Park on part lot 15 concession 2, being the west side of Division Street North. Sandra, could I turn this over to you, please?
Mr. Chairman, the notice of public meeting was circulated on February 24, 2021, and the signs were posted on the property on February 19, 2021, in accordance with the Planning Act. This application is seeking relief from the following section of the bylaw, the marginal agricultural zone, to permit the construction of a detached accessory building. Section 7(3)(c)(5), to permit an increased building height of 5.4 meters, 18 feet, for a new detached garage, where a maximum of 4.5 meters, 14.8 feet, is permitted. The applicant says that he needs an increased building height. It's necessary to accommodate a hoist and storage loft. There is a Hydro One easement over the south end of the subject land, over 100 feet away from the proposed building. Proposal for detached accessory building in this area does appear to be consistent with the provincial policy statement and the rural designation policies of the township official plan. As the property is zoned marginal agricultural, and this is an accessory building to the proposed residential use on the property, the maximum building height is 4.5 meters. The applicant is proposing 5.4 meters for a variance of 0.9 meters, or just under 3 feet. The applicant has said that he'll be using the garage for his own automotive hobbies and interests and needs a hoist to do so. The loft mezzanine in the building would be used for small woodworking projects and storage of his own lumber. The applicant is reminded that should this be approved, the permitted use of the building shall be for the storage of personal vehicles and household items only. The use of the accessory building as a vehicle repair service facility for commercial purposes or other industrial type uses is prohibited. The Township Hamilton Building Department provided that they have no objection to this variance and remind that building permits are required prior to construction. So in conclusion, the Planning Department does support this application, and the commenting agencies were supportive as well. The committee must satisfy itself that the 4 tests of a variance are met prior to granting relief. Relief minor in nature. Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And is it desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land? Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The process that we'll move to now is made a little difficult because of the nature of our meeting being a Zoom meeting. So if anyone on committee or staff see anyone wishing to speak and I have not, please bounce in. I will open the floor to the public at this point in time and ask, are there any present in support of the application?
We're the applicants, sorry, and obviously we're in support of the application.
Thank you. We will come back to you at the end of this part of the meeting and ask if you have anything further to say that may have materialized in the discussion.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here in opposition to the application? Hearing none, I will ask, is there anyone seeking clarification in this application? Hearing none, I shall turn to the committee members and ask, are there any questions? Bill?
Thank you, Chair. I just get nervous when I hear hoist. I just want to clarify through our staff that non-commercial purposes actually doesn't refer only to registered businesses, but it would include, part-time business, side jobs, whatever you want to call them, where, numbers of vehicles are brought into the property and worked on a cash basis. That's not also prohibited under the bylaw.
Through the chair, operating a home occupation from this building is not permitted. Should the owner or occupant of the house wish to work on their own vehicles, that's fine. You can always work on your own vehicles on your own property. But anybody else bringing a vehicle in would be considered a home occupation or a home industry and would not be permitted out of this building.
Thank you.
Anything further, Bill? Larry, you're next on my screen here. Do you have any questions?
No.
Mark, any questions?
No, but I would make a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, Mark, I do have a question of my own, if I might.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll come back to you here in a minute. I guess I'll direct my question to Mr. and Mrs. Clark, sort of as a follow-up to our previous question. What is your intentions to use the hoist for? Is it to raise vehicle to a second-story loft, or is it in fact for your own private and personal use?
Yeah, for my own private and personal use. I have 20 years of automotive experience. I currently teach tech now. So I teach automotive and construction and architectural design at a high school level. So my hobbies, and that's mainly the reason for it. I'm getting older and I don't have a hoist at this point. It's something, like I said, I do a lot of my own work and on my own toys and hobbies. So that's the main purpose.
I believe, Mr. Clark, you've obviously heard concerns, and we've had these in other situations where these applications are before us, and then they basically get turned into, weekend garages with a lot of traffic, a lot of noise and different things. And apparently that's not your intention. So
No.
I'll come back to Mr. Lovshin, who's about to make a motion, I believe.
I'll make a motion to approve the application that's presented.
Do we have a second to that motion? Bill, I think I saw your hand first. Any further discussion?
Chairman, did the applicants have anything additional to say following the report?
We sort of alluded to that, and I sense no, but I will go back to them. Mr. and Mrs. Clark, would you like to further say anything?
No, as long as we answered everyone's questions, we're good to move forward.
Thank you. We've got a mover and a seconder to approve. Any further discussion then from committee members? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Unanimous, Sandra. Sandra, would you like reasoning for this at this point in time?
Yes, please.
Okay, 2 or 3 reasons here. One is the commenting agencies were all supportive. There was no one in the audience that was opposed to the application. And really, it's kind of minor in nature. So.
Thank you, Mark. Bill, I think you were the seconder. Anything you'd like to add?
Mark's covered it.
Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Clark, you're more than welcome to stay with us for the rest of the meeting, but it's just other people's applications.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sandra, when you're ready, we'll move on to the next application, which is another application for minor variance located at 8465 McBride Road, part lot 17, concession 5. Because I'm not great in pronouncing these last names, I shall avoid my embarrassment in doing so, and my apologies to the applicants. Sandra, if you would, please.
Thank you. The registered owners are Robin Bourbeau, Jacques Bourbeau, and Adrian Scott. The notice of public meeting was circulated on February 24th, 2021, and the signs were posted on the property on March 3rd, 2021, in accordance with the Planning Act. This application, as circulated, seeking relief from the following sections of the general provisions and rural residential zones of the zoning bylaw to permit the construction of a detached accessory building. Section 525(1) and 93C4 to permit a lot coverage of all detached buildings of 6.3%, where a maximum of 5% is permitted. Section 525(3) to permit a new detached outbuilding to be 2,400 square feet, or 149.25% of the size of the principal building, where a maximum of 804 square feet, or 50%, is permitted. And Section 93C5 to permit a building height of 4.77 meters, 1.64 feet, where a maximum of 4.5 meters, 14.8 feet, is permitted. The applicant's reasons for not complying with the bylaw: I require a larger outbuilding than the bylaw permits for adequate storage of my vehicles, recreational vehicles, and machinery. Bringing to the committee's attention, this is what was on the initial application and what was circulated to the public and, of course, to yourselves. Following review of staff report over the weekend, Mr. Bourbeau got hold of me, sent me an email yesterday, and has advised that the incorrectly measured the size of the house. He did not include the second story floor area, only included the gross floor area of the first story. Therefore, the gross floor area of the house is 2,124 square feet, not 1,608 square feet, as initially stated. The minor variance being requested in item 2 is being amended to a lesser variance. So item 2 is now stating relief from section 525(3), permit a new detached outbuilding of 2,400 square feet, 112.99% of the size of the house, where a maximum of 1,062 square feet, or 50%, is permitted. This is a lesser variance than what was circulated. Also, in reviewing the aerial photographs again with respect to the corrected information, I noted that there is a firewood enclosure on the property that was not included in the list of buildings on the application form, nor on the drawing submitted. This enclosure appears to be approximately 6 by 12 feet, resulting in a total lot coverage of all detached accessory buildings of 6.44%. This is a slightly larger variance than what was requested and advertised to the public. The provincial policy statement and the township official plan both permit detached accessory buildings in this area. The proposal is in keeping with both of those documents. The property is zoned Oak Ridge Marine Countryside with an underlying rural residential zone provision. The existing 2,124 square foot, two-story residential use is permitted. There's also a 750 square foot detached accessory building on the property, and it's been identified as a woodworking shop. Proposed 2,400 square foot detached building, proposed to be used for vehicle and machinery storage, is also permitted, but must comply with the bylaw. So the chart that identifies the variances being requested with respect to 525.1 and 93C4, they are permitted a 5% lot coverage. They are needing 0.44% for a variance of 1.44%. With respect to the second item, 525.3, they are permitted 50% of the size of the house, 1,062 square feet. They're now seeking 112.99% the size of the house, 2,400 square feet, for a variance of 63%, or 1,338 square feet. Item number 3, building height, 93C5, is as written. They are permitted to have 4.5 meters. They are seeking 4.7 meters for the variance of 0.27 meters. The variances for lot coverage and building height appear to be minor in nature and in keeping with the intent of the bylaw. Gross floor area of the proposed building is over twice the permitted size and exceeds the gross floor area of the principal building. I've included the definition of accessory building from the zoning bylaw, which indicates that it is subordinate and incidental to the principal use of the lot. Reducing the gross floor area of the building, the new building, closer to the size of the house would be more in keeping with the intent of the bylaw and would be a lesser variance, thus not requiring additional public notice. The applicant is reminded that the permitted use of an accessory building shall be for the storage of personal vehicles and household items only. Use of the accessory building as a vehicle repair service facility for commercial purposes or other industrial type uses. The agency comments. I did not circulate the new information to the agencies as they had no objection with the larger variances that were in front of committee at the start of the application. But again, they had no objection to anything going forward. The planning department does not support the proposed gross floor area, even though it is a lesser variance. The building is still 2,400 square feet. That has not changed. It's still over 100% of the size of the house. It's the calculations of the house that have been corrected. The committee must satisfy itself that the 4 tests of a variance are met prior to granting relief for each item. Is relief minor in nature? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And is it desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land? I did draft up a report. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to forward it to committee before this meeting, and I apologize for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra, if I may ask you a pointed question, have you had sufficient time to do a complete review of this application, considering that it was changing as recently as the weekend and you not getting that information until 24 hours ago approximately? So my question is, have you had a chance to do a complete and thorough review that you would want the committee to move forward with this application?
I feel comfortable moving forward with the application based on the fact that the proposed building is still the same size as it was. It's just a recalculating of the size of the principal building, and that is a lesser variance. I'm comfortable moving forward with that, whichever way committee wishes to proceed. I do note that the wood storage building at the south end of the property was not included in the list of buildings or the drawing that was submitted. That is a larger variance. It's marginal. It is a very small difference in the variance. Committee may decide that they wish to have public be fully aware. That's up to committee, given a 72 square foot difference in lot coverage. I'm okay going forward if committee is satisfied.
Well, if you at staff level are, we'll go through the process. And that process is going to the public. And please go ahead.
I did receive one letter. This is from Wayne and Gay McIntosh. They are immediately abutting. I don't have the address in front of me, but I will have it for my records. We have received a notice of public hearing for the above minor variance. We have no objection to the new building. However, the attached drawing does not show the location of the big shop doors. We would like to request that they not be on the east side of the building, which is next to our driveway. Robin makes a habit of using our driveway without permission. That's what they had to say. Thank you very much.
Moving forward, we'll go to the public input and ask, is there anyone present in support of the application? And as our applicants and agents know, they will have a chance to speak to this in a moment's time. Is there anyone present that is in opposition to this application? Seeing none, I'll ask, is there anyone present seeking clarification to this application? I will then go to the committee members and ask for questions. By the way, I believe at this point in time, I have one, so maybe we could just hesitate making a motion if there aren't questions from the other committee members. Bill, any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you. I have two or three. First of all, in Sanders' defense, and not being able to support this, it is simply not a minor variance. And that doesn't mean I'm opposed. This is an issue that we're having. We've had several times. I know staff is working on a review and some amendments to our official plan, and I'm very confident that this is one of the sections that is going to be adjusted. But as of right now, I mean, it's laughable for us to think that this is a minor adjustment. You know, when the building is more than twice the size of what our official plan says. That being said, I'm willing to go with the consensus of the group. I did make my site visit, and the location is good. I don't believe that the building would be in anyone's sight lines. Neighbors on either side. The neighbor's driveway, I believe it's 8475, Sandra. McIntosh's, their residence and buildings are on the top of the hill, well above where this building's going to be built, so it's not going to interfere with their sight lines. So for those reasons, I could support if that's the way the rest of the committee wants to go, but I really do understand Sanders' reticence and not being able to support this. I would also hasten to comment, had there been any complaints by neighbors, I would not be able to support it. And if the committee chooses to go forward with this, I think we should stipulate the one request that was made from the neighbors, that the doors not be on the east side facing their driveway. So there won't be any temptation to use their driveway as an entrance. Thank you.
Nothing further then, Bill? Larry, again, you're next on my screen. If I could go to you, please.
No.
No questions?
No, I think Bill covered it very well.
Thank you, Larry. Mark, any questions?
I have a couple questions. First, I'd just like to ask the applicant it's a large building, so I just wonder what the usage, what they're going to use this building for. Is it primarily storage or?
Sorry. Hi, I'm Robin. I have amassed over the years just a lot of power sports toys and vehicles. Like I have several classic cars, and I have a couple jet skis and ATVs and dirt bikes and snowmobiles. And I'm getting sick and tired of the clutter on the front of my driveway. So I'm looking for a place to store them, keep them, they're assets of mine, and it'll help protect the assets that I have. And also I think it will kind of brighten up the look of my property, because right now there's just too much clutter, and I'm not a fan of that.
Okay, thank you very much. And a question to Sandra. Sandra, I don't have it in front of me. Can you just give me the dimensions of that building again?
New building is
Yeah,
40 by 60, 2,400 square foot.
40 by 60. Okay. In realistic terms, I mean, when you're storing cars and storing vehicles and you're storing some of the other toys that you've mentioned, I mean, 40 by 60, you probably 10 years from now, you'll be regretting it wasn't a 40 by 80. So, I mean, the space goes quickly, and especially if you have to move things in and out and so forth. So it's nice to see that you're going to get rid of some of the clutter. So I do envy that part of it. So I'm, as much as I know Committee Member Kane has mentioned that, it isn't a minor variance by any means, but because of the size of the building and because of the amount of toys that people are using nowadays, I'm somewhat like he is. I think I'm supportive of it just on those regards, and perhaps we do have to change things when we do our official plans. So that's kind of where I sit on it.
Nothing further then, Mark?
No, thank you, Chairman Jim.
I have a couple of questions. May I call you Robin?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Robin, I have attended your site. It is a site I am familiar with, going back to the construction of the house and different things. Obviously, we all know that it slopes from south to north, somewhat substantially. What type of foundation do you propose to use on this structure?
I plan on doing a retaining wall first, and then a floating pad.
Okay, then that leads me to, what is the side yard setback? Now, I know you've prepared a sketch and I've reviewed that sketch, but no matter what I do, I cannot see that number. What's the side yard to the east?
Can you clarify?
What is the distance from the property line, being your east property line, to the closest point of your east building face?
Chairman, according to the drawings I have, I would say that's 10 foot.
That is correct, 10 feet, which I believe is within the bylaw.
Yes.
I would tend to agree with both staff and yourself, Robin, that meets the side yard setback requirement. What it doesn't factor in is the elevation of your floor and your retaining wall in relationship to the lot line. If you construct this size of building in this location, and you have to address the water that flows from south to north against the north face of the building and around to the east or around to the west, you may not want this size of building. And I'm simply saying this as a word of caution to you, because you don't get to regrade that east lot line onto someone else's property.
Understood.
And your retaining wall, of course, will be outside of your building wall. Is that correct?
Yes, it'll go to the outside, correct. So I have no problem moving the location of it to wherever the township sees fit.
Robin,
None whatsoever.
Robin, you did freeze there a bit, but I think we all got the intention that you can adjust outside of this diagram and make it work. Just another bit of a red flag
Absolutely.
as far as information goes. That process is not established by this committee of adjustment. It's not what we're looking at. I'm just giving you a heads up as it relates to the previous comment and letter from your adjoining neighbor. I don't believe you're going to have any option to have any doors facing to the east with this building, are you? Outside of the letter.
No, the plan was to the plan was to have north facing doors and then have a gravel. You can't see my driveway in this picture here, but my plan was to have north facing doors with a gravel driveway to intersect with my already gravel.
Robin, again, you would have no concern if this committee made a condition on this minor variance or made a point of restricting the doors in the north, to the north?
Hello?
Yeah, Robin, Mike, maybe can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Robin, if this committee were to look at a provision of limiting you to large or garage doors to the north, you would be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Committee may or may not consider that. That's all the questions I have. Robin, is there anything else you would like to share with us on this application?
Yeah, I believe there was something I omitted. There was a question on the application where it mentioned, does this pertain to the rural character? Just surveying Google Maps over the last couple of days, I just noticed my neighbor, Mr. McIntosh to the south, he has a large 40 by 60. And then my neighbor directly to the east of me, they also have 40 by 80. So in my opinion, I think it does, so to speak.
I'm sorry, Robin, we had some technical difficulty there again. We only got part of that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I was just saying my neighbors to the south and the east of me, they have large garages like this. So I think it keeps better with the rural character, having neighbors like that with the same type of building on their property.
Thank you. I did note that myself when I did my site visit, but I also realized that they were on agricultural, larger pieces of property than your residential property. Anything further than Robin?
No, that's it.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
time.
Thank you. Committee members, entertain a motion if you would, please.
Chairman, if I may, please.
Yes.
Committee of Adjustment is charged with enforcing the zoning bylaw for the township. The location of the garage doors, not a zoning bylaw item. I caution that I don't believe the committee has the authority to say that a garage door can or cannot go here or there. I do appreciate the committee wishing to provide caution to the applicant to keep aware of use of the neighbor's properties. The only other thing I can possibly suggest is that in response to the McIntosh letter, they may wish to put up a fence, and that would negate opportunity of using their private driveway to access Mr. Borbo's property.
I acknowledge and accept everything you've said, Sandra, and I'm sure the committee members do as well. I believe we have the applicant's commitment to not be using doors elsewhere. Yes, Robin, please.
If I may, I can always, have a lawyer write something up, and I'd be more than willing to do that as well, saying I will not be utilizing their driveway, and they'll all be pointed to the north, all the garage doors.
Thank you for that offer, Robin. We will leave that with staff, I think, to work through. Do we have a motion at this point in time? Bill, I think you're trying to make a motion. Mute, Bill, you're still on mute.
Yeah, I did raise my hand, but I thought Larry beat me to it, so I sort of whipped it
No,
back.
I'll motion it. I'll motion it.
Move for approval.
And I'm willing to second.
Been moved and seconded for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Larry, I can't see your hand, but I'm assuming you are when you made the
Yeah.
motion.
Oh, yes, I'm approving it.
Thank you, Robin, and we do appreciate your consideration of that offer.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Robin, we are moving on. You're more than welcome to stay with us, but we're just going on to someone else's application.
Very good.
Thank you.
Could I have reasons from the committee, please?
Yes, Sandra, the applicant's request is reasonable and clearly fulfills the 4 reasons of a minor variance. And there have been no real objections, verbal or written, regarding the application.
And the government
Anything else?
agencies, and the government agencies, we're all on board with it.
Yes, yes.
Anything further then on this application?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Sandra, when you're ready, we'll move on to the next application, which is presently on a different piece of paper than what I have in front of me. It is the Biles, again, forgive me if I'm saying the name wrong, application at 5193 Cook Road. It's a minor variance application, again, in part lot 25, concession 8, being application A05-21. Sandra, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The notice of public meeting was circulated on February 24, 2021, and the signs were posted on the property on March 3rd, 2021 in accordance with the Planning Act. This application is seeking relief from the following sections of the limited service residential zone of the bylaw to permit the construction of an addition to the house. Section 10(3)(b)(3) to permit a reduced exterior side setback of 1.8 meters, 6 feet, where 3 meters, 9.8 feet is required. Applicant's reasons for not complying with the bylaw: the construction of the proposed building will result in only 6 feet on the west side of the house. The provincial policy statement and the township official plan both allow residential uses in this area, so the addition to the residential use is permitted under both of these documents. For the zoning bylaw, the land is zoned Oak Ridge Marine Countryside with the underlying limited service residential zone provisions. There's an existing 1,150 square foot, 2-story residential use, and as I say, that is permitted. There are also 3 existing detached accessory buildings on the property. Proposed 200 square foot addition to the principal building is permitted, but requires a variance of 1.2 meters or 3.8 feet. The western edge of the property abuts a township road allowance that leads to water, Rice Lake, and is not currently open for vehicular traffic. There is a drainage culvert ditch that runs from Cook Road down to the lake. There does not appear to be an impact from the proposed addition to the abutting property, the unused road allowance. The variance request appears to be minor in nature and in keeping with the intent of the governing documents. The Anaraska Region Conservation Authority have no objection and say that the building permit will not be required, a permit from them will not be required for this project. The County of Northumberland, again, said no objection to the proposed variances. So in conclusion, the commenting agencies are supportive, and the planning department does support the reduced exterior setback. Again, the committee must satisfy itself that the 4 tests of a variance are met prior to granting relief. Is the relief minor in nature? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And is it desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land? Chairman?
Scott, you're on mute.
Oh, that's what happened to Sandra. I didn't realize she was finished. My apologies.
Did you not hear me?
I heard enough. Won't ask you to repeat. Thank you, Sandra. We have heard the planning report. This part of the process is where we ask if the public is here in support of the application. Is there anyone here in the public in opposition to the application? Is there anyone here seeking clarification? Seeing none, I will acknowledge that the applicant is present with us. However, I would like to go to the committee members and see if they have any questions. And if so, we will then certainly be providing the applicant an opportunity to answer those questions and add anything that they wish. Bill, just for convenience, I'll go to you first again, please.
No, I don't have any great concerns. I was curious about parking, whether there's still going to be enough parking space with the addition. I noticed there's a couple of boats already parked in the road allowance, and I'm not sure if the addition is going to reduce the amount of parking space. I don't know who owns the boats, but there's not a lot of room there.
Bill, would you like the applicant to answer that question at that point in time?
If he's able, if he or she is
Yeah.
able, yes.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, yes. The one of the boats is my husband's, and the other is another neighbor that have just over the years used it because that land's not used at all. As far as our parking, we feel that there is sufficient parking for our vehicles, for our cars, and we would just put the boat in the driveway as well if needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further, Bill?
Nope, that's all.
Larry, questions?
I had the same comment that Bill did about the boats and the road allowance there, but that's been answered. So I have no other questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mark?
Yeah, I'm along with with the other two fellas. I mean, I'm fine with the application as it is after hearing the response.
Thank you.
I have a question in relationship to what is it? I noticed on your application, a rectangular box identified as septic. And that leads me to think that there's a weeping bed or filter bed somewhere, or
No,
that's a holding tank mislabeled.
oh, that's what it is. We have a holding tank, not a septic system.
I thought that might be the case.
Mhm.
I too, when I visited the site, saw the usage of the road allowance, which is presently outside of the discussion for the minor variance here, other than what Mr. Kane has mentioned, in that, do we have adequate parking? And to that end, I will turn to staff and say, does this lot with this addition in place have sufficient parking to meet the minimum in the zoning bylaw? And I guess I'm directing that towards yourself, Sandra.
According to the application, they advise that there are 2 parking spaces in the driveway, which is the minimum required in residential area for residential uses. I don't have a photo in front of me that shows where the driveway is precisely. I would presume that it's towards the east end of the property, given that the well and holding tank are central and west.
That's correct.
So,
No, it's,
No.
no,
totally
no, it's to
opposite
the
in my
west.
mind.
It's on the west. It's on the west side. And it goes down the length of the house. So the addition will not interfere with the driveway. It'll be close to the driveway, but the driveway will still be there. The full length of it. It currently holds 2 cars, but it could hold many more, probably could hold 3 or 4.
so you park on top of this holding.
No. The driveway is right up along the property line. We don't drive on the septic tank. No.
And there's still room for 2 cars in the
Yes.
driveway.
Yes.
So that,
Yeah.
that does meet minimum requirements of the zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I'm getting more confused on this particular topic right now than I want to be. We have the sketch in front of us.
Mhm.
The existing house, again, from the map that I have available and the eyes that I have available to use it, the addition is how wide? 10 feet or 18?
The addition is going to be 10 feet.
Okay. So there's 16 feet from the westerly limit of the house to the lot line.
Yes.
The septic's being a holding tank shows the east wall of the holding tank at the west wall of the house, which meaning whatever width the holding tank is comes out of the 16 feet. A holding tank will be probably 6 or 8 feet in width. For the benefit of the applicant, I'm going to say 6 feet in width. We can't drive on a holding tank,
We don't.
and you don't, which means there's only 10 feet in width left between the west side of the holding tank and the west lot line. A parking stall by itself, in English terms rather than metric terms, takes up all of that. We're showing the house to be 32 feet from the road, and a parking stall is normally, in English terms, not metric, 10 by 20, meaning that there is sufficient space there for 1 parking stall. I'm going to turn to Sandra and say, Sandra, did you follow that math thought?
I do understand what you're saying. Now, Yes, you're right. The bylaw does define a parking spot as basically slightly under 10 by 20, but not quite 10 by 16.
And I believe I've heard that we need 2 parking stalls for this type of usage.
If they
Now,
were
when
building
we-
brand new,
Pardon
then
me?
yes. If they were building a brand new house on a vacant lot, then yes, they would have to provide 2 parking spots off street. So then
And
through
when
the
we have an
chair, if I may ask-
application, when we have an application that is potentially further reducing the parking stall requirements, do we not need to look at parking stall requirements?
Yes, yes. I understand where you're going, Mr. Chairman.
At
May
this
I- I'm
point,
gonna just
at this point in
gonna
time, we have,
review the file again, if you please bear with me.
at this point in time, we have committee members questioning the usage of the road allowance. We have a drawing in front of us, whether it be accurate or inaccurate. We can only assume that it is what it is because it's what we have. I'm wondering if we shouldn't just hesitate and maybe defer this application to get some clarity on some of these issues. And Sandra,
Mr.
that would,
Chairman, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, in support of yourself, maybe we need a little more information submitted to you that we can feel comfortable in approving this application.
Yes, I understand where you're going, and more information is usually a good thing. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Bill, if I might go back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So since I kicked all this off and started all this kerfuffle, when I was there were 2 cars parked, or 2 vehicles, excuse me. I believe one was a truck. I'm going to ask the applicant that where this addition is being placed is not currently used for parking of vehicles.
No, the vehicles will still have room, just barely up the side if necessary, yes.
And the parking area though is to the, as we're looking at the diagram, to the right of the holding tank and below the well. That's the 2 parking places.
It's, they go to the side of the house where the addition is,
Okay,
all right? From the side of the house straight
Yep.
out to the road.
okay,
It follows that property line, the driveway.
okay.
Which means it's on top of this box. It's presently identified as septic.
No,
There's
our
something
driveway
wrong
is,
with this drawing or the verbiage that we're dealing with right now, one or the other.
the septic tank is, the driveway is to the, when you're looking at this picture, the driveway is to the left of the septic tank. It's right along the solid line of the property line. There's a hedge there and it's right up against the hedge, the driveway. And my
Forgive me,
husband,
But I'm getting more confused again.
sorry,
Is the septic tank correctly placed in this diagram?
I couldn't say. It looks to be correct for me, but my husband drew it and put it in, and I'm sorry he's not here this afternoon, but yeah, it looks to me to be correct because where they come to pump it out, the hole that they use is just beside the house in front. So
Is that the little wooden platform with the 2 white handles on it?
yes, that little platform is where you lift that off and there's the tanks under there, the access to it.
Unfortunately, that adds clarity to me because when I was there, that was one of the concerns I had, that might be exactly what that was.
And that's a problem now? I mean, that was all approved when we had the house built in 95.
It's a problem not for it being there, but
Okay,
rather how it relates to where the parking truly is. And are we impacting with this proposed addition a space that we actually have to keep for parking, whether you're presently using it or not?
oh, I understand now, okay. Could the parking be put on the other side?
Well, I think there's any number of options here,
Yeah,
and there may not need to be any new options. There
okay,
may just need to be clarity on what I personally saw on site, what the zoning document dictates, and the drawing that we have in front of us. I emphasize that word clarity.
okay.
Bill,
Okay.
please.
Again, I just want to ask then, so could the area, as we're looking at the picture, to the right of the septic tank and below the well, could that be a designated parking space if it had to be?
Yes, it could be.
There's enough space there.
Yes, there is a space there. There's no trees or anything. There's a hedge at the property line, but that's it.
Thank you.
I think that question also needs to be addressed by staff when they have an opportunity to look at the site in person or a new site plan, just to confirm.
Yes, I would like to review this again. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark, questions?
Not a question, Mr. Chair, but after hearing what I've heard and the comments I've heard and including from our staff member, I just like to make a motion to defer this for a month and have it come back again.
To the applicant, this would be an effort to get clarity. It's certainly not a decision to deny your application.
Understood.
It's just an effort to get clarity. I think you understand that, and we would be more than willing to have it brought back at the next available meeting.
Thank you.
A little bit of that effort, though, starts with yourselves
Mm-hmm.
to sort of do a check and review of those items that we've been talking about and getting that to staff in advance to the next meeting so that
Yes.
we could move forward for you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the committee?
No, not at this point. I'm sure I'll be talking to Sandra next week or later this week.
Thank you. Mark, were you about to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we defer this until next month.
Okay. Do we have a seconder to that motion?
I'll
Bill?
second it. Larry
Larry, okay.
or Bill?
Larry's got a second in there. All those in favor?
Chairman, before you vote, please.
Yes?
The deferral was until next month. Although I will strive to get it done for the next meeting, there's a lot of work that needs to be done before I recirculate for another variance, if that ends up being the case. I cannot guarantee that it will be on the April meeting, given the amount of work that would need to be done. I will do my best, but I do not want to promise an April meeting.
I understand. And the other component is I've already said to the applicant, the start of this is with them to get you the information. To our mover and seconder, would you be willing to have a friendly amendment and say brought back to the next available meeting?
Sure, Mr. Chair, no problem.
I agree.
We're
Agreed.
getting agreement on all of that. And I'm sure the applicant realizes that the step one is theirs.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion, I'll just clarify that. Thank you. Hopefully see you next month.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything further, Sandra?
I've got nothing at this point. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to new business. I do have one item. Do any committee members have any new business?
Nope.
Larry, forgive me, but you're off my screen, so
Oh, no, I do not.
thank you. Sandra, any new business?
No, I don't.
I have one item and it's a request for our zoning bylaw update review. This particular application allowed me to draw a conclusion that the interior side yard setback and the exterior side yard setback provision requirements are one and the same. That historically is not the case, and I would ask staff to throw a note in the zoning bylaw review file to review this particular section. Of course, initially to check that I'm right in my thoughts, and then to check and see if the bylaw needs an amendment there.
Yes, I've made note of that, and it will be a discussion item with staff as we go forward.
Thank you. Personally, I don't know the difference between new business and other business, but that's the next point on our agenda. Any other business anyone wishes to bring up?
Nope.
Well, then we need a motion for adjournment.
Sure,
I'll motion that, Larry.
I'll second it.
And I think we got all in favor on that, I'm assuming.
Beautiful day out there.
Agreed.
Thank you, everyone.
Line, please.
Thanks.
Pardon me,
Thank you,
Sandra.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.